Okay, time for another Hammond collection video. I received my Ceratosaurus today, so we're going to be taking a look at that. Hopefully the video is not a little dark or anything. It is evening, and this is the best the lighting really gets in here. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, there's not as much discussion to have with a Ceratosaurus as there's something like a Rex anyway. I'll make sure I do the Triceratops when it's daylight out for a little bit of extra illumination. It is a JP3 Ceratosaurus, not a Camp Cretaceous one. Worth pointing that out, because they could technically have some design differences. But since this is explicitly JP3, we've got just one short scene in all of the films to compare to as well. And I think if there's any inaccuracies, those inaccuracies come down to strictly comparing with that dinosaur. Like, there's not any issues with cross wires like there could be with the Gallimimus, where they use the wrong version of a film Gallimimus, because there's only one film version of the Ceratosaurus. That's the point I'm trying to make. Saying way too many words to get to it. All right. I like the look of this already. Ceratosaurus is not a very interesting dinosaur inherently in the context of the films, just showing up in that one scene. But it always did have a very memorable color palette and pattern. And it's really nice to see that, at least at a glance, captured pretty well here with this figure. This tail does have a particular orientation. You can see the extra little flange there. So that's worth noting. Let's get this guy popped out. And yeah, I never cared too much about the Ceratosaurus until a little game called Jurassic World Evolution came out and made me really like the Ceratosaurus. So now, suddenly, I'm really happy to see a Hammond Collection Ceratosaurus come out. I still think it's a really weird choice for them to do a Cerato so early. But, you know, I'll take it. I'm happy with it. I'd like a Carnotaurus, please. I am curious about how well the line has been doing or hasn't been doing. It seems like the first wave was really overproduced, because if you go to Target or to Target's website, there's a lot of backstocked Paras and Baryonyxes to the point where they're actually on sale. I picked up an additional Parasaur figure for myself, which I've just been keeping in the box because I don't see any reason to really open it. I don't normally just keep toys in the box, but it was literally half off, so it's just like, we'll buy the para. Whatever. I got one more little thing to clip here to get this guy out if I can get to it. He's got a little tie on his foot that's like way down in the packaging. It's kind of hard to reach. Alright, I think we got him. Mission accomplished. Let's get you out. Check you out. Are you still tied in there? No, you're just stuck. Okay. Let's try and not drop little plastic ties all over my floor. Alright, Cerato. Okay, maybe we'll pull his ass out first and then his head afterwards. Yeah, there we go. That worked really well. Just toss that packaging aside over there. Alright, there is our little buddy, the Ceratosaurus. He has no movable wrists. That's my first point I'm noting, which means he's stuck forever with bunny hands. Those hands folded over like this. There's no way to really make them look natural, like unbroken wrists side to side without it like being weirdly splayed out on the arms. You can maybe convince yourself that that's fine, get away with it a little bit there. But yeah, it's definitely made to be bunny hands, which is fine because that's correct to the film. So that is perfectly acceptable. 4 digits, that's good. 4 digits on the hand is true for a Ceratosaur, or just members of Ceratosauria in general, including Abelisaurs. Like Carnotaurus is 4 phalanges. It doesn't really have fingers anymore. They're just little nubs. But yeah, let's get this tail in here. I can see the way it looks like it's supposed to connect. Is that true? Am I a liar? I think I'm a liar. That's the way it's supposed to connect. There we go. Yeah, so his tail actually snaps in upside down, which is weird, but it's completely movable. There's a joint there, so it twists around. Yeah, so the paint job. First, let's talk, I guess, about the tail. So we got a bendy wire in the tail again. Cool. Cool. This one's a little more actually usable than some of the other ones we've seen. It actually continues down to the tip pretty well. Most of the length is bendable until you get to the thicker part. That's nice. In terms of paint, it's a little weird to me that there's like one tiny like unpainted bump here on this black stripe. But that's pretty minor. Other than the stripes don't really line up on the tail to where it connects to the plastic body, probably because it's painted completely independently. Not a big deal. It's a little weird that if you look at the flank of the animal, you can see that white paint showing through on the stripe there in the crack right here on the body. A little weird, but again, things that are kind of expected for figures, so I'm not like too upset by any of that. It's kind of par for the course. Just what I expect to encounter. No dew claws painted. The dew claws are completely unpainted. About par for the course as well. So I'm not minding that so much. Golden eyes. Paint looks pretty good on the head to me. Yeah, we've got a nice little neck joint. Decent mobility here. Looks up, looks down. What does this little joint do? This swivels independently of the other neck. So yeah, you can like raise this and kind of have the little bit of an S curve, or you can try to do it down and straighter. Causes a little bit of a weird gap on the bottom of the neck here. It looks like it's meant more for an S curve, which is probably accurate to the film, I think. Is that a movable tongue? Or is that molded? No, that's a molded tongue in the bottom of the jaw. It doesn't seem like it comes out. The little membranes on the side of the mouth here are just hinge joints for the jaw. The top moves independently of the bottom, which is nice. The horn looks pretty good. It's even got a little bit of a point here on the eyebrows for those other horns you often see Ceratosaurus depicted with that it doesn't really have in Jurassic Park. Yeah, let's compare a little bit with accuracy here maybe, huh? I prepared a few pictures. Again, if I can find them. Hold on. I gotta like purge this. There's too many pictures. All right, so there's like a looking straight ahead picture. Kind of with his mouth closed. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, maybe the figure is a little brighter red, but it's really hard to actually tell the colorization of this Ceratosaurus, very particularly in the night scene. So I'm pretty okay with this. It looks like the red on the shoulder there is more or less correct. So the figure has the red continue from the head down to the back a bit, which is true and accurate. You can see the black splotches and stripes on the arms. They are present on the arms of the figure. You can see them continuing out to the legs. The legs here, no stripes on the lower leg, where they should have some stripes probably, which you can see on the little picture of the Cerato here. It looks like there's some stripes crossing the legs on the lower extent. So unfortunate that they don't have those. Not too bad, though. The little nodules on the top of the head are completely absent on the figure. That's probably expected and accepted. They're fairly small. We do still have like these osteoderms on the spine at least. So it still gets that, you know, Ceratosaurus vibe. Pretty good. Can't really tell too much what the eye color is, but gold looks like a reasonable interpretation of it. It could be green, hard to say. Yeah, you get the closer up shot. Yeah, the eye is like maybe like greenish yellow or something. I'm okay with gold. It looks to me like the eye socket really shouldn't be painted in dark. It looks like there's more, you know, dark around the edges of it, but mixed in with this lighter pinkish color. There's like these light stripes on the mouth. Those are completely absent on the figure. Maybe that's okay. It's maybe not too bad that those are missing. Be maybe nicer if they weren't. but it's relatively minor. And honestly, if they weren't painted well, it might look worse than just flat red, which is nice. I gotta figure out how to make this guy stand yet, because his legs are a little... Like, the hip paint makes it look like this, but that is not... The tail is not long enough to support that position. So I have to, like, figure this out still and pose it. The horn seems alright. It's kind of hard to get a good sense of the profile of the horn. You actually do get the little mini horns above the eyebrow. It's cool that those are there. Again, all these little spikes are completely absent. Let's move this picture up a little bit, huh? Yeah, so this one doesn't show the teeth. The teeth of the Ceratosaurus, you would see them a little bit there. They look really dirty and like a lot of like gray and dark on them. The toy doesn't have that, which is probably fine. It might look a little weird anyway. It looks weird in general, the teeth. They're kind of hanging out here, kind of buck teeth a little bit. You see shots of it with its mouth closed, where the teeth are really overhanging the jaw, which the figure does. So it's got the teeth hanging out there, the way the Cerato does. So that seems fine. Again, you can see here that the legs should have stripes all over. Yeah, and they don't. But it's not too bad. As far as paint job accuracy goes, it seems fine. It's certainly better than the Gallimimus. We got to give it points for that. For sure. The other thing we compare it to is the Mattel Ceratos that have previously existed. This is the one I have, which I think is the second wave Cerato. I think the first had a body that was lighter colored, like the Hammond figure, and then the second one, this one was more gray. Definitely the paint job is more accurate. I mean, there's more paint in general. The tail is like unpainted on the other one. The sculpts are pretty similar. The head's a little longer on the Hammond collection one, it looks like. Neck length is just about the same. Arm length is about the same. Feet are about the same size. I think the legs are a little bit longer on the Hammond collection. I don't know if that's a good way to compare. Yeah. The Hammond collection one does seem to stand a little bit taller, although I guess the legs are kind of bent on the other one too. So we should try to get it into a more equivalent pose. Although this one, the legs don't want to move forward too much, which is a little bit of a problem for posing. But we'll get it to work. Yeah, actually the thigh really doesn't want to move forward from this position. This is as far forward as it really wants to go. It goes back without that much effort, but it does not want to slide forward any more than that, which is a little weird. We might have to put this one a little upright to make it stand decently, which is strange. Yeah, so it looks like for this thing to stand properly, it's got to be in a little bit of a kangaroo pose, which kind of actually matches the Ceratosaurus in JP3. It's got really weird posture. Oh, the belly's untextured. You can see here in this Ceratosaurus picture that's very much not true. They have all these little scales on the belly. Kind of like they're wearing like a girdle or something, or a little bit of like football pads maybe, kind of that vibe going on. And that's completely absent in the figure. Yeah, actually, I'm having a hell of a time balancing this figure now that I'm playing with it a little bit more. It does not like to stand. The ankles aren't weak, but it's top heavy. It's forward heavy enough that a lot of that weight and balance gets put on those feet. And so any given these ankles, it's immediately starting to tilt. I'll have to play around with it, try and balance it better. I don't know. If I could just get one of the legs to go forward more, it'd be pretty good. We'll play with it. We'll see what we can do with it. He'll be in the background of some videos for sure. Yeah. I suppose there are some other like behind the scenes shots, I think, of the Cerato. I might try to find one of those real quick. Okay, so yeah, this is what I was talking about with like the buck teeth shot when you see it looking straight ahead. Eyes are definitely like green-yellow and not gold. Also, a very good look at it from the side where you see that like the darkness in the eye socket is actually mostly shadow and not the Cerato's coloring itself. So the eye socket really shouldn't be this dark. And you can see the teeth are very dark in this shot. They look very much stained versus the clean teeth of the toy. Nostril placement looks decently if you're gonna really be like strange about things. I think the horns may be a little short, but that's probably fine. We also have this profile view, which is what I was thinking of for like behind the scenes type stuff. So yeah, you can definitely see that the horn is actually a little short. Hold on, this guy's a little off screen. Let's get him over there. Yeah. So you can see that the horn actually does extend pretty high above the head there on the Cerato, which this one's a little shorter. Pretty close, not that different. This one's probably better, more accurate to an actual Cerato than the one in JP3. Also, the neck has the waddle on it in JP3, which is absent from the figure. That's probably a holdover from the Buck T-Rex, which is what this model is based off. This is just a stretched T-Rex model, which is why it has the waddle and the very square Tyrannosaurian head. This might be closer to the Jurassic World Evolution Cerato, honestly, which I'm probably not upset by. You can see the stripes on the legs, the lower legs where it's completely absent. The tail striping distance looks pretty good. We've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stripes. That's not bad. I can accept that for a toy missing 2 stripes on the tail. That's fine. Have 2 stripes coming down over the hip, just like the little render here. Even the one above the knee on the side of the leg is there, which is actually kind of impressive that they bothered or got that correct, maybe by complete coincidence. And then, yeah, 1 thick stripe on the side of the body and 1 above the shoulder. So they actually did a really good job on the body striping. And then like 3 stripes on the neck, kind of. 1, 2, 3. Huh. Oh, no, 4, because this one would count too. So they actually have like an extra stripe. I guess maybe there's one right behind kind of the ear of the Cerato. Surprisingly accurate on the body. Even the extent of the red is like perfect, where the red stops before the hip completely. Like right at this big body stripe. There should maybe be a little bit more pink behind this middle stripe. But it's pretty good. Surprisingly good. I like the figure overall. Very happy with it. In terms of where he ranks, I think this is an S tier figure. It definitely goes ahead of the Gallimimus, and to me, the Gallimimus is like the top of A tier. I think the Rex wins the day. I think I like it more than the Pteranodon. You can discuss the accuracy between the two probably in more depth. I think I'm going to rate the Cerato ahead of the Pteranodon. I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think the biggest problem I have with it so far is the balance, which it is standing in front of me on my desk stably right now. So I think we're able to work around that a little bit. It is kind of annoying to me that the only way this thing stands stably is very erect like this. Like there's no way to like bend the leg forward, so it's like in the middle of a step. Which I'm not happy about, but that's not gonna affect the placement here, I don't think. And I like Ceratosaurus. It's probably getting points for being Ceratosaurus, which post JWE is definitely a dinosaur I like. Alright, I think we've pretty well covered this. I don't think I have much else to say. It's not a figure that merits as much discussion as some of the other ones, just because there isn't as much, it's just the Ceratosaurus, which shows up for a minute, so it's not like the Trike or the Rex that are super iconic and bear a lot of discussion. So yeah, I think we'll end this video here under 20 minutes. How about that? That's pretty special.